Greetings everyone, I'm Jed Shlackman, and in today's video I'd like to speak about making some fresh raw vegetable juices. This can be for cleansing, for nourishing the body. It can be for just maintaining your state of well-being or to help with recovery from some type of illness or disease. So anyone can use vegetable juices. And I'm going to share some of the ingredients that I like to include when I'm juicing vegetables to make a vegetable juice for myself. You can try out different recipes, different ingredients in your vegetable juice. And the first thing to consider is what type of juicer. If you're making vegetable juice or any type of juice, the ideal type of juicer is one that preserves the nutrients. So a slow masticating type juicer, not the centrifugal type ones that go very fast and create extra heat that can damage the nutrients. If you're juicing something raw, you want it to be fully raw to preserve as much of the nutrition, as much of the enzymes as you can. So you can select a slow juicer that fits the bill for that. And then you can gather your ingredients and prepare them in a suitable quantity for the amount of juice that you'd like to make at one time. I'm going to list some of the ingredients that I think can be very valuable in making a vegetable juice, and you could try just a few of them together or many of the ingredients together. You could also do a single ingredient juice. Some of those are popular. So let's write down on the whiteboard behind me some of the ingredients that I would include. So there we have slow masticating for the type of juicer. And then we're going to write the ingredients underneath. So one of the most popular ingredients for vegetable juicing is celery. And celery has become popular as a single ingredient juice. You may have heard people talk about celery juicing in the medical medium and just having pure celery juice, nothing else added. So that is one very valuable healing tool. However, you can include celery in a vegetable juice that has other ingredients. So it's not something you only have to use on its own. Another ingredient I like to use is cucumber. Now, cucumber is in the gourd or melon family, so technically it's a fruit in a sense, but people think of it as a vegetable. It's eaten with vegetables and included in salads, and it has a very low sugar, low carbohydrate content, and it's very juicy, so it's very hydrating, very nourishing and cleansing in that way. So juicing cucumber really helps add some volume to your juice because you're getting a lot of water, a lot of juice in that cucumber. It has a higher juice content compared to many other vegetables. And let's continue with the C's. We have celery, cucumber, and another one is cilantro. Cilantro is a good ingredient for helping chelate out heavy metals from your body. So it's a very cleansing type of herb or vegetable. You can include that in your juice. It kind of adds a little spiciness to it. Another ingredient that's kind of the opposite of some of these others in terms of its qualities is a root vegetable, carrot. So let's put the carrot there. And I have carrot there in orange, since most of us are quite familiar with orange carrots, but you can find carrots that are other colors. They sell in some of the grocery stores the rainbow bags of carrots where it's got a purplish or reddish carrot, a pale whitish or yellowish carrot besides the orange ones. And carrots are a bit sweeter than most other vegetables since they are the root vegetable. So they have some carbohydrates stored up there. So that gives a little bit of sweetness to your vegetable juice to offset if you have some of the more spicy or bitter vegetables included. Next we'll have parsley. And parsley is another cleansing type herb vegetable. It's actually very good for the kidneys, for helping cleanse and purify your bloodstream. So parsley is one that you could add. Next we have squash and zucchini, and this really includes any type of squash. So even some of the winter squashes that people usually cook, like pumpkin or butternut squash or acorn squash, you can actually use it raw. You can juice it. And those have a nice mild flavor. So they're not very strong, they're not bitter, they're a little more soothing, and they do have some good juice content in them. Next we have sweet pepper. So bell peppers or other sweet peppers can be included in a juice. If you were to use spicy hot peppers in a juice, it kind of counteracts the hydrating aspect, since the spicy, very hot things are dehydrating. So if you want your juice for really just nourishing and cleansing, you might want to avoid anything too spicy. Maybe a tiny bit of a spicy pepper or ginger or turmeric, but very little, not too much. You want your juice to be hydrating so your body can take in all the minerals, all the nutrients it's providing. And our next ingredient would be salad greens. So the greens and the lettuces, those are usually very rich in minerals. They have a lot of vitamins and minerals in them, and they're alkalizing, they're full of chlorophyll. So that includes things like spinach and arugula and different types of lettuces, romaine lettuce, leaf lettuce, Boston lettuce. These are all very nice to include in a vegetable-based juice. Next, we're going to look at another type of vegetable, the cruciferous vegetables. So that includes things like bok choy, Brussels sprouts, you could even try juicing some broccoli or cauliflower, although those are a little harder. They don't go as easily through the juicer, but you could definitely take some of the leaves off of a Brussels sprout or bok choy, and those have a high water content, which is good for juicing. And we know those vegetables in the cruciferous family have a lot of anti-cancer properties. They really help with giving certain compounds to your body that help with detoxification. So certain minerals that are in them are valuable. Another ingredient that I like to include in the vegetable juices I make is moringa leaves. Moringa is a leaf from a tree that grows very quickly and abundantly, and it's very high in nutrient content, very good source of vitamins and minerals and amino acids. So it's got some pretty complete nutrition in it, and you can take the fresh leaves and juice them. Many people buy moringa leaf powder, where it's been dried out and turned into a powder. So if you want moringa in a juice, you have the option after making a juice of adding that concentrated powder to it, but it's actually much better and ideal if you can have the raw fresh leaves and include that in your juice that you make fresh. And we'll add one more ingredient here. This one's another herb, rosemary. So rosemary is somewhat strong tasting, spicy sort of herb that has good anti-inflammatory properties and is very good for your circulation. It's something that's used to support cognition and memory, so it's good for the brain and nervous system. It helps improve the blood flow there, which improves getting nutrients to your brain and clearing toxins out of your brain. So if you want to add a little zing to that juice, in addition to something like ginger or turmeric, you could add some rosemary, and that's a very nutritious and therapeutic ingredient to include in a juice. So we have a lot of elements here we can bring into a raw vegetable juice. You can experiment on your own with the quantities, how much of each ingredient to include, depending on how mild or strong tasting you want it to be, how sweet or not sweet you want it to be, how really concentrated you want it to be, or more watery, less concentrated. So you can try out the the different amounts of different elements in your juice in that process. Not everyone likes it exactly the same way, so the blend that I like best might not be the same one that you like best. You might like different ingredients or different amounts, so it doesn't have to be one size fits all. We're all free to experiment and find our own zone, you could say, the optimal blend of ingredients for a vegetable juice to use regularly. I hope that this has given you some good ideas for making your own vegetable juices. Remember, if you're making a raw juice, to use the slow masticating juicer, the one that preserves as much as the nutrition, as much of the enzymes as possible. And if you're interested in holistic health and wellness, in natural healing and related topics, I invite you to visit my website, phinsights.com. That's phinsights.com. For now, I wish everyone a wonderful day. Namaste.